Latch On says, wow, Jimmy J won E-League. Who would have thunk? Even tried locking out Koreans to not make Americans look free. Man, you're lucky that I'm over here taking a sip of my coffee. Otherwise, I don't know if you'd have the ability to still type in this stream. But I will say that I found the format for the Tekken event to be really, really sick. And not only that, but I don't know if you watched it. But the cool part about it is that Blueberry hit me with 7 months in a row. Thanks very much for the Twitch Prime. The cool thing about it was that Jimmy lost, actually, right, to Majin. That was really sick. I thought that was a cool part about the tournament. What was the resurrection part about? I don't know. That was just something that they added into the finals. You only wish there was a time for a third place match. I guess it was only 1 day of Tekken, right? So that's what was unfortunate. But Latch On, I'm with you. I would really like to see another Tekken event with Koreans added, right? Koreans added would be really sick, I think. Koreans and Japanese players added, and European players, actually. That would be really cool to have an international match. I talked a little bit about it. I gotta talk about Eleague Tekken. Eleague Tekken was great. Oh man, I gotta tell you guys about Commit to Believe. I forgot about Commit to Believe. This is a 3-part story. There's 3 main things that happened in Commit to Believe story, right? The first is, in course, Commit to Believe. That's an important phrase. We're gonna get to that. The second is a gay orgy in Incognito's room at Eleague Tekken. And the third is Jimmy J trans law. There's 3 parts to this story. Okay? Those are the 3 main ingredients that make up this story. And I thought I would tell it to you guys when I got back home on my stream. Okay? This is an exclusive. I just wanted to break it down for you guys. So, we were at E-League. The night before competition started, everybody was just hanging out at the Players Hotel. Steve and Rip and I went over to Incognito's room, and Incognito had Jimmy J Tran, Rip, Rixta, and later on others. But that was who it started with, right? It was us and Rip and Steve. So we showed up to the room. Steve went outside to hang out with some other people for a bit. So it was Incognito, Rip, myself, Jimmy J Tran, and Rixta. We were chilling in the room, right? We're just chilling in the room. Cut the music, need a clean rip of this. We were chilling in the room. Everything was going fine. We were enjoying some Tekken. And then Jimmy J Tran starts playing Law. And I don't know if you guys know the lore about Law, but he has been saying that Law is top 3 for like 5 months or something. And Rip is talking so much shit, so they start playing a Law mirror. And Jimmy J Tran is kicking the shit out of Rip. In the Law mirror, it's brutal. Like, I think the first 2 games, he won 6 straight rounds, right? It was crazy. He is just fucking Rip up. And the thing that he is using the most is while standing forward, DSS cancel, 3+4/4 on counter hits. Counter hit combo, right? And he is using it as a keep out tool, and Rip is like, man, that shit is good. And Jimmy is really good at doing it. And they're having a conversation. And you know how Rip is, right? When he is playing Tekken and he's losing, he always makes a bunch of noises. Like every time he gets hit by something or he fucks something up, he goes, oh my god, oh, and he just fucking yells, right? Yeah, Rip is a Law mate. So he always yells and shit. So he's making all these Rip screaming noises and fucking doing oh gods and flip kicking, and yeah, you guys know how Rip is. So they're playing, and Rip is just asking Jimmy, and he's like, look, man, 3+4 like is unsafe on block, but there's a 4 follow-up that could hit me if I try to punish it. That's a high, and I can duck it and punish that. And he's like asking Jimmy, he's like, dude, every time I do 3+4, you just punish it, right? But like, when I block yours, I can never tell if I should punish it, if I shouldn't punish it. What am I supposed to do? And Jimmy just says, you know, he just basically, they're talking about it, and Jimmy's saying, like, you just gotta commit, right? You just gotta commit to it. You gotta commit to it and believe in it. And then Rip and Jimmy combined came up with Commit to Believe. They're like, you just gotta commit to believe. Not believe in it, not commit to believe. And me and Rixta are in the corner, and we're laughing at the dumbass phrase commit to believe. Because, you know, they're playing Tekken and trying to talk at the same time, so their brains aren't quite working. So they're hitting buttons and shit. Yeah, like, you know, you just gotta commit to believe, you know? And they're just fucking... they're just over there making shit up. So Ricky and I are just laughing at commit to believe. It's such a silly phrase. And I was like, Commit to Believe. That sounds like some made up shit. That's gonna be the name of Daigo's next book. The will to keep winning, and then he's gonna lose the Tokido at Kimono Michi, and he's gonna have Commit to Believe. Right? That's gonna be his next book. It's a bestseller that he's gonna drop. You know, Commit to Believe. the Daigo feature. He's gonna drop that story. It's gonna be a New York Times bestseller. So after Jimmy's fucking rip up with Law, Rip's yelling and making a bunch of noise, Commit to Believe, Daigo's new book, all this shit is happening. The other people who are gonna come to the room come up because they were chilling somewhere else. They roll through. It's like Steve and Fab and like a bunch of people just come into the room, and they're like, hey, Incog, there was a note outside of your room. Your neighbor had left a note for you. Here it is. And so Incognito grabs the note and he reads it, and the note says, hey, I don't know what's going on over in your guys' room there, but it sounds like you guys are having a really great time at that gay orgy. So, you know, please enjoy yourselves and be safe. Signed, your neighbor. Right? And they had like the room number of where they were or whatever. And basically Rip's screeching when he was getting beat up by Jimmy J. Strand's Law was so loud that they thought there was a gay orgy happening in that hotel room. It was just a fact of what the E-League experience was like. And this is before the E-League tournament even began. Alright, just think about that. It's before the tournament even began. And then, you know, of course, Jimmy goes on to win the tournament, but it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. Rip alone made enough noise for the neighbors to consider it a gay orgy. That's impressive. I gotta tell you, this guy Rip has been practicing for sure. I don't know how he does it. You're disappointed the story didn't involve a real gay orgy? Well, so the next part of the story... No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's why Rip was so pumped up the next day, of course. Yeah, Eleague Tekken was super fun. I enjoyed it a lot. As much as I enjoyed new subscribers to the channel, thanks very much for the Twitch Prime. That is very kind of you. I loved it. E-League was such a stick of it. It was super fun to do. It was the least work Steve and I have ever done at an E-League because Rip and Markman did the first and last blocks, and Steve and I only did the middle. So it was great. Like, we had less commentary than usual, which meant we just got to enjoy the event. It was so sick, actually. There was this time, right, where Jimmy J. Tran was playing Poke Chop, I think. And right when the match is starting, the crowd is like, ATL, ATL. They're just chanting for Atlanta, right? The crowd is just chanting for Atlanta, making all this noise, all the hoopla and shit. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, the minute this chant ends, I'm going in, right? So Jimmy is playing Poke Chop, ATL, ATL. The crowd quiets down as the match is beginning, and I'm in the background, and I just yell as loud as I can from the corner of the room, let's go, Jimmy! And I just start clapping it up, right? The whole Atlanta crowd turns to look at me like, you son of a bitch. Who is this motherfucker in the corner yelling, let's go, Jimmy? I'm back there just clapping it up by myself. You know, just solo. And then there started the West Coast cheering corner. It's like myself, Ricksta, Peeling, Sumi, we're all just, let's go, Jimmy! Just in the corner every time he got a hit. So the match would start, Poke Chop gets a hit, the crowd's like, hey, 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 doing all these chanting and shit when he's getting a hit. And then Jimmy hits that fucking taunt jet upper at the wall, just fucking boom! And then all of us are just, you could hear us A-ing in the background. Actually, I should pull up the match. What's it called? I had to scream because fucking the whole crowd is chanting for, what's it called? For ATL, and there's nobody chanting for Jimmy. There's not a West Coast soul in the building. There's not a West Coast soul in the entire room. I was like, what the fuck, man? So we had to make some noise, right? We are in the corner back over there. You can see the Californian-looking crowd looming over there in the corner. But that's what the audience looks like. Mr. Naps is Jimmy's old name.
Orbital! And the crowd cheering for no round Brown here. Yeah, but gee, he's gonna end up at the wall. You're not where you want to be against Brian. Taunt time! Oh! And Jimmy said, everybody sit down.
That is...
What an
I think that part right there, that's probably one of the worst feelings in any fighting game, huh? One of the worst feelings is when you take like a big fat orbital, you get hit to the wall by Brian, and you get up and just eat taunt jet upper. Like, that is... That's tough. There's not a lot of feelings worse than that. Or best feeling if you're the Brian player, I guess. Ugh. That is a bad feeling. You know, Curly, I think everything worked out just fine. I don't need you giving anybody any ideas. Oh, man, that's a bad feeling. I'll tell you what. Man, I was playing in Japan. I fucking hate playing in the arcades in Japan sometimes. I loved it. It was the game I played the most. I played a shit ton of Tekken in the arcade. But I gotta tell you, like, I don't even remember. It was like the second time I was playing Tekken in the arcades, right? The first day I sat down and played maybe like... I had to get a new card, actually, which really sucked. But... the second or third day I was playing in the arcade in Japan, and I'm playing, you know, I'm just playing some Tekken, no big deal, and I don't even remember. I'd like played the day before, and it was a new card, so like everybody I was playing was pretty new, right? Second day I'm playing, my card is still pretty new, because I've only probably played about 15 games on it or something like that, and I get a guy who is unranked. He has no card, unranked, right? He's never played, and I'm like, okay, like... You know, cool. He's a Brian player. Match starts. I do Korean backdash. He does dash dash, taunt jet upper mid screen. Just hits me dash dash taunt jet upper mid screen, and hits me to the wall. I hit the wall. He does taunt back forward jet upper, and he just kills me. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy playing on no card? Like, it's like, you know what it is? What happened? Here's exactly what happened. This dude is at the arcade, right? He's like a high-ranked Brian player. He got the shit kicked out of him by somebody who's hella good at Tekken. So he got pissed, pulled his card off, put like one in, and was like, I'm gonna fuck up somebody who's new. Puts, like, he just plays, and yeah, match starts, dash dash taunt jet upper. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I ran into so many Smurfs when I was in Japanese arcade. It was crazy. I was like, God, it's so annoying to play against these fucking people with no card or like a new card that are clearly hella good. I'm like, come on, bro. It's fucked up. I was like, who is this guy? Huh? I was like looking at where his arcade was. I was like, I'm about to go find this motherfucker. I'm gonna make him put his card on.